right, everybody, how are we doing today? Kobra Trading here. It is 3 p.m. on Monday, August 19th with a quick BTC update. I had actually just recorded this video and I went into editing and the audio, my microphone actually wasn't plugged in. I made a rookie mistake, so I'm going to do this a little quickly and just go through what's been happening, right? So we have this trend line here, which I connected from here to this candle. Or was it this one? This candle here. And this was just tested last week as well as our major support here at $9,600. So that's pretty much what's been going on. We had this major impulse move and now obviously we are starting to correct here. So zooming in onto a daily chart. I know that before I had this labeled and drawn as a descending, as like a descending wedge or whatever. And it just doesn't fit with me as much now. I like this better as a just a descending channel here. You know, it's pretty much the same violation that we had of the top here. That does happen sometimes. Sometimes you'll get a bottom violation or a top violation, and then it'll re-enter the channel and continue on its way. As I mentioned, this is pretty much, in my last video, this is pretty much my entire count for the entire thing. Feel free to take a screenshot of this and go ahead and use it as reference if you'd like. So I'm proposing basically that this entire major wave here is just a huge one wave, and now we're working our way down to a 2 down here. Don't freak out that this 2 is so low. These are just pretty much stacked right here so that you can see where all of these wave counts end. So I am proposing that this correction into our 2 wave is an elongated 2 correction. So basically I'm proposing a 333 here, which is part of a larger WXY correction. And currently we are either completing or about to complete our B wave to continue our next leg down for our C, which will be composed of 5 separate waves, completing the 2 wave, the Y wave, this C wave of our ABC, and our 5 wave of this 5 wave sequence here. So this red box, this is a very important red box. This is our known levels of resistance here, and I'm going to drag this all the way out over here to our dotted line that is vertical. These 2 lines are also very important. This is the day on the 12th, I believe it is, that has to be all US customers off of the Binance exchange, and a week later or so, week and a half, whatever, this is the day that the backed exchange will be opening for business. So that being said, these points kind of line up in time with everything that's going to be going on, because everybody does expect some nice movement after the backed exchange opens up. So with that said, let's go ahead and explain why I think that this target is so low. There's a couple reasons here. The first one is going all the way back here to our very low. If we take a fib pull from here and we go all the way up here to our top of our main 1 wave, you can see here that I'm basically proposing that we're going to land somewhere in here between our 618 and our major support level at about $6,600. Now, typically, and this has been shown many times on Twitter, I'm not going to go ahead and waste time doing it for you. Most times when we have major impulses like this, we correct about 80%. I'm actually proposing a shallow correction. Normally, if history repeats itself, this would actually supposed to be going down to here, which is about $4,300. Do I see that happening? Probably not. Do I see $5,400 happening? Also, probably not. We've gained too much support and too much institutional recognition and support along the way. There's too much development going on, and there are many more retail investors starting to get into the market because Bitcoin has become more mainstream. So that being said, I do think that this is a more likely probability here. And another reason why I think so, let's go ahead and get rid of this, is those of you that are familiar with Cypher Patterns and harmonic patterns and stuff like this, this back here from, I'll actually draw it out for you. We had a big bullish Gartley pattern right here that ended up this ended up playing out, and if you take a fib pull from here to our top, this actually ended up hitting my target between, I think this is reversed. No, it's not. Okay. This actually ended up hitting my target of the 618 retracement point, which was target 1. Target 2 was my 0.5. It didn't exactly hit that, but it was very close. We actually ended up rejecting off the 618 and then hitting the target and beyond up here, but this, I guess, you know, it doesn't really invalidate the reversal because it stayed at these same levels and higher. This made a higher low than here, so technically it's a continuation, but it didn't hit it until much later. Like this is like a week and a half later. So that pattern, that's a pattern that ended playing out before. And what I'm thinking is happening now is I'm thinking that we're getting another pattern started here, and this would be a bullish deep crab. So I know that the names are funky. I don't come up with the names, but I know that these are super reliable because I use them when I'm long-term trading. So I'm proposing our X to A is already finished, and this was our reversal here that we've obviously reversed from this point. This I'm proposing would probably be the top of our trend line here, or maybe just a little bit higher, you know, for the you know, the algo traders that, you know, like to hit the 618 very often. And then why did my thing end here? Where's my other point? It got messed up. Let's do that again. X, A, B, C, and a D would be way down here. So a D would be about 1618, but it can be deeper than that. So typically when you have, these harmonic patterns, they can get very deep sometimes because there's rules that you're supposed to follow with the actual Fibonacci relationship. So up here, our A to B, or A to C relationship, excuse me, needs to be between the 0.382 and the 0.86 fib. As you can see, anywhere between here, I think, is 382, something like that, somewhere around this area, which we've clearly already surpassed, to 886, which is like way up here, you know, somewhere around the $12,000 mark. I don't think that we're going to be coming all the way up to $12,000. There's just too much resistance up here. We've made 3 sequential lower highs, so I think that we're going to stick with the trend, and we'll probably hit like a nice good 618 and just, you know, wick above this real quick and hit the top of this resistance bar before coming back down. So our X to B ratio, that needs to be about 886, which it is. It's 888. That's fine. It can be 1/100th of a decimal point off. That's not that big of a deal. And then our B to D ratio has to be between 2 and 3.618. So obviously this meets those requirements, and this needs to be about 1618, which I guess would be a little bit up here pretty much. So that is just about $7,200, where me and a lot of other people, Dark Energy and others, have been calling for our final move on this, and it's just right about here, which is also, like you saw with the main Fibonacci measurement, just in the 618 zone. All of these numbers correlate, you know, so that pretty much makes sense if this was to play out. On the other hand, this very small degree 5-wave sequence down, this is completely perspective. There's no real basis for this at all. If I come down to a 4-hour, you can see here that we're currently in an ascending wedge. This is most likely going to break down, which is why I think that our B is already in, and we're going to start reversing here, if not very soon. Start coming down, put in our 1, and you know, we're just going to be bouncing around, you know, from there. We don't necessarily have to stay in this triangle of the harmonic pattern. As you can see, it normally doesn't stay exactly in there. Just as long as the levels get met, within a certain time, it is normally okay. So that's pretty much where I'm proposing this is. If we go ahead and delete this, and you guys want to see this, the detail work from this on a lower time frame like we are now, I can go ahead and do a quick fib pull for you. So from our main wave here, this would be all of our sequences here. So we've got our 0.5, which we're having resistance at right now, our 618, which I think we could potentially retrace to continue this the harmonic pattern, or we could bounce off of this and use it as support and actually come up and hit about $11,000, which is our 382 before coming back down. So these levels I basically just use as reference from this fib pull. I'm expecting our 886 to be our level 1 support, our 618 to be our level 2 resistance, our 1414 to be our level 3 support and target, and our 113 for our wave 4 resistance, and obviously our wave 5 would be our 1618, lining up with everything else. So guys, that's pretty much all I have for you. I do want to note that on these lower time frames here on the 1 hour, we are starting to see this you zoom in real close. I was zoomed out really far. We are starting to see, I'll make it on a 15-minute. We are starting to see a reversal pattern here. Diamonds are known reversal patterns. We see a lot of this where, you know, we end up seeing something, you know, like this, a huge leg up and then sideways and then a huge leg down again, you know, something like this. And people call it the, you know, the Bart head or whatever, you know. So we'll have to see what ends up happening there. That's some professional charting drawings right there for you guys. And oops. But we'll have to see what happens. I think that another reason why that level is in play is that also lines up with the bottom of this ascending wedge, which is also a known reversal pattern. So it's kind of like we've got, you know, a reversal pattern inside of our main reversal pattern. Just there's a lot of signs right now that are leading to this probably going down. And, you know, this is one of them. Our awesome oscillator has, you know, already been turned over through more than the better part of the day today and is starting to decrease and lose momentum. Let's go ahead and turn these on. This has already been overbought. It looks here like we're getting a lower low on the MFI indicator, which would be a little more bearish. And then on the chart, in terms of Ichimoku, we have broken above the red cloud on this lower time frame, but I don't really use Ichimoku on the lower time frames. I wanted to show you these moving averages. The yellow is the 200, the orange is the 100, and the purple line is the 50. We did get a little bit of a bullish cross here, which is why we're starting to see some bullish momentum here, but on such a low time frame, I don't really think that that's going to matter. And 10,500 is probably a pretty good target for retracement. That's right around this level, you know, in here where this wick is. So I think that somewhere in here in this little box, this zone that I have, I think is a pretty good spot for a target in terms of the very, very, very short term for the rest of the day and maybe throughout tomorrow morning. It also lines up at the top of our green Ichimoku cloud here. So very close on that. Besides that, I think on our 4 hour for this stuff, we're pretty much sitting inside of the Ichimoku cloud right now, which is definitely a no trade zone for me. It's really, really risky right here. We've got the cloud that's turning over red. We're getting into an area of historically low volume here, which is not very bullish for me. However, we are sitting on top of the 200 and on top of the 100 EMA, as well as our Tenkan-sen, you know, all of our Tenkan-sen and our Kijun-sen, you know, we're sitting on top of all of those right now. So that is a very good sign. Obviously, you can still see this this wedge-shaped pattern here forming. So I think personally that we're going to reject from this cloud. We'll correct down to probably 10,500 first, retest this support level, and then come back up to finish our larger wave, which is our B for our harmonic pattern. which we are going to correct from down to about maybe $7,200 or $8,000. And then after that, I think pretty much the correction is pretty much done with. And if you want targets long term, I am long term bullish. If we go ahead and reverse this to the upside so that we can go ahead and see where our high targets are for this. High target would be 1618 is about 14.3, which is higher than our last high, which is good. That's a good starting point. And our 3.14 is about $20,000, right where our all-time high was. So those are really, really good targets to have right here, and I think that this is going to end up playing out. 3.618 is probably like the most likely target that would be happening over time. It's exactly about $21,000, so we'll have to see what ends up happening here. And that's really all I got for you. Short term, the Awesome Oscillator is turning bullish, but I don't think this is really going to have too much momentum coming to the upside here. And our MFI indicator is still sitting right in the middle. So anyway, from here we can go down, and that is the side that I am looking at playing. I want our B wave to finish first and have signs of a confirmed reversal here on our larger 4-hour and daily time frames, and then I will be going ahead and looking for a nice short on our 4-hour time frame here, so I can go ahead and play this this pattern that we have forming. Take it easy, guys. I hope that this video is informational. If you like this kind of information, give me a like and a subscribe, and hit those notifications for when I come out with new videos. Besides that, when you're trading, make sure that you're always laddering your entries as well as your take profits, and always make sure that you are trading with a stop loss, especially at uncertain times when we're in the middle of patterns and we're not sure if the trend is going to reverse or continue yet. So trade with safety. If you like information like this, or you're interested about learning more, I also do tutoring classes as well. You can check out the link to my Medium, which is down below, for free information on articles that I write, which are educational, as well as my Patreon, where you can find out more information about private tutoring and privatized lessons that I do, covering everything from risk and portfolio management to advanced stuff like this: harmonic patterns, Elliott wave theory, Fibonacci, all of that good stuff. So until next time, happy trading.